Artpop Talk is excited to announce that the presenting sponsor of this podcast is Zencastr. Podcasting remotely can be challenging, but it doesn't have to be. Zencastr's all-in-one web-based solution makes the process quick and painless, the way it should be. So you guys have heard me talk about that when I edit our episodes, I always want it to be the best listening experience for you all. You know that I am obsessed with sound quality. I make it a top priority, and Zencastr provides amazing sound quality and HD video. Not only does it make the editing process literally so easy for me, it is the most user-friendly platform that we've used to record. Gianna and I have been using Zencastr even before they became a sponsor of this podcast because it is so accessible, and that is what APT is all about. And it is the easiest platform for all of our guests to join as well. There is nothing to download. They just click the link that I send them and we get recording with no issues. Zencastr is all about making your podcasting experience easy, and with everything from local recording to automatic post-productions in the tool, you don't have to leave your browser to get the episode done. We want you to have the same easy experience as we do for all of our podcasting and content needs. So if you go to zencastr.com/pricing and enter promo code artpoptalk0, you'll get 30% off your first 3 months. Zencastr.com, zencastr.com/pricing, promo code artpoptalk0. It is time to share your story. Hello, and welcome to Artpop Talk. I'm Bianca.
And I'm Gianna. Bianca, do you know what heiress failed to open an art foundation in New York City, which resulted in her imprisonment?
I believe this was the person who now has a Netflix show about her, Miss Anna Delvey. I need to watch the show, Inventing Anna. I'm very excited to get into that.
Bianca, you are correct. If you like that little trivia question, then you're going to love what's coming in today's episode with the founders of Women's Art Wednesday.
We speak with these fantastic women all about their upcoming book release, and they pretty much school us in a game of women's art history trivia. So Gianna, without further ado, let's get started.
How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm surviving out here on interview road.
Interview road.
Yeah, that's what I'm calling my life track right now.
It is the never-ending road, unfortunately.
Yeah. Sad Girl Central Station, all aboard.
Yeah.
Interview road.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going. No end in sight.
So I binge-watched the second season of Dollface this weekend.
I'm so excited to watch it.
And obviously all those little funny jokes about, emotional baggage in the airport and, the cat taking her away is just so great. I mean, that definitely is what makes the show. But I can't help thinking about how we might be perfect writers for Dollface 3 because I have yet to hear a Sad Girl Central Station joke. And I feel like that really fits the vibe of Dollface because they've been in an airport, she's gotten on the bus, but now we need a good train that takes her away to the land of interviews. And actually in this season, there's a lot more interesting conversations about work and new kind of career paths. So I'm just saying
I'm excited.
Dollface, Hulu, hit us up for season 3 because we have the
in
lived experience that you need.
Yeah, truly. I'm excited to watch. I watched the first episode of the new Mrs. Maisel season, and then actually Andrew and I watched the episodes of Bel-Air that are out, the Fresh Prince drama reboot.
The commercials have been so dramatic for that.
Well, it's a dramatic retelling of the classic tale.
No, I understand, but it's this great poem that is being read in the commercials, and I'm like, okay.
It is good. Actually, we are enjoying it. So if you have Peacock, I would recommend. Andrew's also particularly enjoying it because he's a very big Fresh Prince fan. But I'm liking it as well. Like, I definitely watched the show growing up, but not in order like he, probably did. Well, on that note, we will end our weird chitty chatty catch up session about what we watched this weekend. And we are going to get into today's episode. This was such a fun episode. You guys are going to love it. If you don't know already, today we have Jane and Paloma, the founders of Women's Art Wednesday. Women's Art Wednesday is a collaborative organization dedicated to highlighting the lives and work of women artists in history and today on accessible platforms. And we talk with Jane and Paloma all about their really exciting book that they are releasing on March 9th. You can find all of this information in our bio across our social media. We are going to tag them in all of our posts this week and when their book comes out. So stay tuned for that. Look out for that. And then in the later half of this episode, we play a trivia game with Jane and Paloma where we use the questions that were sent to us from the Artpop tarts, and Jane and Paloma ask us and school us on women's art history questions that are found in their upcoming books. So we will be right back with Jane and Paloma. Everyone, welcome to today's episode. Gianna and I are very excited to have two amazing guests with us today. So we would like to welcome to the show Jane and Paloma, the founders of Women's Art Wednesday. Oh my gosh, we are so excited to finally have you on the podcast. It has been such a long time coming.
Yay! We're very excited to be here. I feel like you guys are famous, so.
Wow. Gonna have a heart attack before we get the ball rolling here.
You can come on anytime if you're going to boost our ego. But we do want to get into trivia. But before we do that, we must and we want our audience to learn more about you guys and about all the amazing things you're doing and what exactly is Women's Art Wednesday. Tell us all about it.
Yes. So I am Jane, and I'll just start off with a little bit of the background of Women's Art Wednesday, which is that Paloma and I both studied art history in college. And in the process of doing that, we're like, wow, where are all the women artists in our textbooks? Because there are none. And we're both like lucky enough to take some classes that kind of focused on this issue and got really fired up about it. And so we just sort of decided that we were going to start a really accessible online platform for just highlighting the work of a woman artist once a week, every week. And it was kind of a spin on the hashtag Woman Crush Wednesday trend, which is kind of a thing of the past at this point, but we've adopted it and made it our own. And so, yeah, we started doing that in 2017 on our personal pages. And so many of our friends and family were just like, this is so cool. And like, we love learning about it, that we decided to make it its own platform. And it's also really always been important to us that art and art history is shared on accessible platforms and free platforms like social media, because it's so often not in traditional settings and institutions. It's expensive to go to museums and it's expensive to go to college. And so we just wanted to share these stories in a place that everyone could enjoy them. So yeah, I'll pass it off to Paloma to talk a little bit more about like the process for how we do that.
Yeah, so we are the best team ever. I feel we really balance each other out because I'm a Gemini and she's a Cancer. So
Cancers for the win.
Yes.
But we really wanted a platform that was easy and fun for people to read. I think oftentimes art history tends to be a little inaccessible, and there's kind of a hierarchy when it comes to knowledge. And we wanted to kind of take that apart. And the way we do our research is I do all the boring research and then I send it over to Jane, and then Jane is the awesome editor who really goes into it and writes these really awesome posts that people love to read.
What she means by that is she does the hard stuff. It's not the boring stuff.
I do the boring stuff.
Oh my gosh, whatever. She's over here like turning a phrase, turning words into magic. Let's go.
It's very hard to do.
I
It
mean,
is. And speaking to that about just making art history accessible, I mean, that is what you're doing with that verbiage is so integral to your mission. Just translating something from like a museum label or a scholarly paper or an essay on someone, like that language in itself in the original format is not easy to get through oftentimes. So it's really hard work what both of you are doing, digesting that information and then translating it.
Yeah. It's crazy the amount that like Paloma and I have been friends for years, even before we both started studying art history. And just one of the things that's been so cool to develop with Women's Art Wednesday and our project is that we just like naturally have fit into these roles. And like Paloma said, like we balance each other out really well. So yeah, it's made me a big believer in like get a buddy to do your project with, you know? Like
Yes, I think we feel that, Gianna. It makes things so alive.
I think we do feel that, but I am definitely like academically dependent on you. Since this is like a younger sibling complex as well, but I definitely feel that. But I mean, we just love a good dynamic duo here on APT, and we're just so grateful in advance. Just wanting to thank you guys for taking the time to be here. It's super exciting for us. You think we're famous, but we're over here fangirling.
Yes, truly.
So, women of the internet unite.
Totally. This is the summit.
Yeah, we need a
APT
club.
Summit. Let's go.
Oh my gosh, I would die. That would be amazing. So speaking a little bit more to that mission about making women's art history in particular more accessible, can you talk about some of those barriers that women in the arts particularly face and how your platform is breaking those down?
Yeah, we both studying art history noticed the way our professors would talk about women artists versus male artists, and just men were constantly being coined as geniuses. And oftentimes, especially in those survey classes, we noticed that they would only briefly mention Frida Kahlo and like two other women, like maybe Mary Cassatt. And it was over and over the same stories, and they wouldn't even focus on their art per se. It was more of how their art related to a male counterpart. So with like Frida, it was always related to Diego Rivera.
Mm-hmm.
And we really wanted to change that. And we both kind of focused on these women artists and kind of uplifting these stories and really focusing on the impacts that they made in the art canon that aren't actually talked about here. And it's been a really amazing journey. I mean, a lot of these artists we hadn't seen before. It was just kind of like through our research that we were doing, and then others we did recognize, of course. But we try to really expand and work with both fine artists. We do tattoo artists. We've done makeup artists in the past. And we're really trying to tackle those barriers of what fine art means and really question it as well.
Yeah, and I think that in general, a lot of the traditional institutions like museums and academia are also the institutions that undervalue women's contributions. So I think that going with the accessibility and the platform and kind of subverting those more traditional methods of art history goes really hand in hand with supporting the work of women artists. And then also, yeah, like what do we consider fine art? You know, is it just paintings and sculpture? Like, not for us. Like, we're highlighting women that are doing exceptional creation in any genre. And it makes it really exciting because we're finding new people all the time, whether they're contemporary or they're historical. You know, there's so many women creators who have done like really remarkable things that, yeah, I think kind of the mission really all just goes together in that sense.
Yeah. I love that phrase, exceptional creation. That just really stuck out to me. I really love that. You guys have something very exciting coming up, and this is part of the reason why we're just, oh my gosh, OMG over here. So tell us a little bit about this book and possibly ebook. It's dropping March 9th.
Yes. It is. Yes. I was going to say, I was like, who gets to say that it's a book? Because give the big reveal.
I'm saying that it's a book.
As art historians, we have to drop a book.
Well,
Yeah, that's the
It's
only way that
time,
people
yeah.
take you seriously
Right?
if you drop a book.
But let's actually
Jane
talk
and
about
I-
that, because I really obviously appreciate everything that you guys are doing. Of course, getting your mission out there through social media, and the amount of artists who have also taken to social media to do these like art installations that take place in digital spaces, that all falls under this language that I think particularly like women are drawn to and kind of eating up and taking up those spaces. But also, these are your fields. You guys are academics. You guys are art historians. And this is also kind of how credibility is also built up in this world. So how are you guys feeling about putting out the book, using your own language, taking your own spin on it, but also doing it for kind of those academic, maybe formal purposes?
Yeah, that's the big one, isn't it?
Well, for us, we've been doing this for so many years. Well, not so many years. It's been about 4 years.
That's a long time.
That's a lot of years. We have a degree in Women's Art Wednesday.
We do
point.
at this point. It's a bachelor's in Women's Art Wednesday.
Can I get one of those? Like, can I sign up for like
We'll start sending
WAW school?
honorary degrees. But we all know that social media can often go away, especially since we mainly rely on Instagram as our platform. And we really wanted to have a physical form of all of the work that we have done these past 4 years. And what better way to do that but with a book? And as art historians, of course, we wanted to really dive into that. And our book it really relies on the same concept as our Instagram. So these 52 entries are similar to like the weekly posts that we do once a week. And they are a little more expanded just because Instagram does have like a shorter, we try to write shorter posts for people to read through them quickly, since people's attention span on social media is very, very small. But yeah, it's a great little entries. You can read about these artists. And we also worked with some illustrators from Spain. And it's been really exciting to see all these different artistic realms come together into our book.
Yeah. That being said, I don't want to speak for Paloma, but for myself, I think that I have struggled way more with feeling like an imposter syndrome with creating a book than our normal social media presence and posts. Because for me, like up to this point, Women's Art Wednesday has always just been like for fun, basically. You know, it's like we love it, we care about it, we take it really seriously, but at the same time it's like we're doing these posts, like we're engaging with people, we're finding other great creators on social media like Artpoptalk, you know, like it's been a lot of the fun stuff with the social media, and we have totally like made errors in our posts, and we have been corrected on things and stuff like that, and we just like get on and we edit them, and you know, we just do a little like, oh whoopsie, like there's that edit. And with a book, it is kind of by our perceptions of what is academically valid, a lot more intimidating to me. And also it's permanent, like it's in there. And like theoretically we could make corrections or whatever and like reprint things, but it just feels so much more high stakes to me that I think as excited as I am about this project, and it might also just be that like at this point I'm kind of like coming off of the whole editing process and like the citations and all of that like heavy stuff that goes into a book project, that I think right now I feel like so much more nervous than I do with just like our weekly posts that we do. But I mean, that's a big thing to have to try to like get past anyway, and I think it's professionally important to just like face that fear a little bit. But yes, this project has definitely challenged me in that way for sure.
That's such an interesting point that you were making about the ephemeral quality of digital media. And I think that's actually a really interesting perspective that we don't really hear a lot about. It's more that, oh my gosh, you never want to do this one thing. You never want to mess up because it's going to live forever on the internet. And I think that what you're saying here is interesting in that it's the opposite way, where in the future, Instagram could be a method of connecting that's no longer preferred. And so that content that you've been working so hard on may still exist on the internet in some facet, but whether people will engage with it in that way may no longer exist. I think that's a really interesting point. Go ahead.
I love that you just said the word ephemeral about it, because can I just like read a little sentence from our intro in this book?
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Are we getting a sneak peek on APG alert?
Alert. All right. Okay, so we're kind of introducing the Women's Art Wednesday concept, of course, in our intro. And it says, this book is a compilation and an expansion of some of our favorite posts from the last 4 years, and in printed form, a tangible record of our tributes otherwise consigned to the ephemeral world of social media. And I was just like, she hit the nail on the head. You get it.
Same page,
Oh my
same
God.
page. Can I just say, if we ever do like another happy hour or do something where the Art Pop Tarts can hop in on in a Zoom meeting, I would not be mad about a book reading. I'm just pointing that out there. Just
I would love
We can do that.
Yes.
I work at a
That'd be
library, so I do
amazing.
story times often.
story
you're,
time
like,
with Women's Art
well-prepped.
Wednesday.
I love it. And also, can I just take this moment to appreciate the term Art Pop Tarts, because I love it. We had a whole like,
Oh my God.
Paloma and I had this whole like text conversation where we were like, can we just talk about the branding of Art Pop Tart for their follower base? It's so good.
Oh my God. What is your favorite kind of art pop? Or I mean Pop Tart. Or art Pop Tart.
Mine is cherry, and there's currently some at my work desk.
Ooh.
I'm a sucker for the like brown sugar cinnamon.
That's a
We
classic.
get a lot of brown sugar cinnamon. Yeah.
Low key though, one of these days I'm really afraid Pop Tarts is actually gonna like sue us and like not think that
You're gonna get a cease and desist.
Yeah, they're gonna
It's
be like,
something that I think
stop
about
doing this. It's
constantly.
not actually cute, and I'm gonna be like, oh, sorry.
No, on like Twitter, actually Pop Tarts has a freaking hilarious social media presence. Like their Twitter is so funny, and I'm always trying to comment like on their on their tweets or their Instagram or something like that. And they made a joke one time about the tweet was essentially like, people are so annoying trying to get in our DMs, like trying to ask for Pop Tarts sponsorships. And I was like, what? Asking for sponsorships, because if we get a sponsorship, then they can't sue us, right? Like they know it's
right.
So,
Right.
Like,
right.
I was gonna say that. I'm like, I am ready for the Art Pop Talk version of a Pop Tart. Like,
oh my God, it would be like pink and
Pink
like
packaging.
cotton candy.
I feel like it would
Lady
taste
Gaga on the
disgusting.
front.
It would be like chewy, like bubble gum or something. Like it would not taste good.
Bubblegum flavor. Oh my God. I don't know about that. So I wanted to ask you guys if you could talk a little bit more about the writing process. I think that all of our listeners, myself in particular, this is basically just a question for me, will be interested to hear more about what it actually takes to get an idea like this in motion. It's something that Gianna and I have kind of talked about. And I think it's very pressing for anyone who has entered that world of academia after you write your thesis, after you write, your dissertation. The assumption is that you are going to turn all of this hard work into a longer book format, or that you have to put, like we talked about, a book out into the world to be taken seriously as a scholar. So how does something like this actually come from concept to publication?
Much more difficultly than we thought it would, is the answer. It's hard. So I would say that maybe we should start with like we said, we kind of tag team everything. So really it sort of starts with Paloma with like the research basis, if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, so for the research, I feel that with my master's in art history, like throughout my grad program, I was very focused on a specific subject, because I focus on Marian images in colonial Oaxaca in Mexico. So it's very specific, and that's all I did. But with Women's Art Wednesday, I was able to get inspiration from random things I would see throughout the week. So either if I saw a painting that was interesting, if an article popped up, if something showed up on my social media, and then I'd kind of look into it or find artists that did certain types of work. And it was very natural, and I kind of just like dove into it. And once I got all of the research done, I sent it over to Jane, and then Jane did all the editing and made it very Instagram friendly and suitable to the audience, because we do have a very specific tone a voice on Women's Art Wednesday, and we would like to keep that throughout our posts. And with our book, we expanded that a little bit more. And of course, because it is a book, we have to have our citations. So we did a lot of going back to all of the stuff we kind of sent each other over the years, making sure our citations were correct and we're still citing the correct sources. And it's a lot of work.
Yeah. And by we doing citations, Paloma means that like she basically did all of the citations in the book.
I kind of consider myself a Chicago style queen because I did so many citations during my thesis.
And like we were like getting down to the wire on like getting our content done and to the designer in time. And I was like, I'm so stressed out about putting all these citations together. Like, and Paloma was like, I got this. I did not go to grad school for no reason. Like, I am ready. But yeah, so really we had this basis for all of our research, and we had this kind of like pool of content already from these posts. And we knew that we wanted to like beef them up and make them a little bit more substantial for the book purpose. So that was actually a really good starting point for us to have all of that, and kind of why we decided to do the book. Now, the process of actually going through and enhancing all of that content for a book format was a lot more work than I thought it would be. We actually, when we first started talking about doing this, was more than a year ago. And I was like, oh yeah, we've got all this stuff. We'll throw it in a Google Doc, like call it good. We'll be done in 2 months. Like this. And Paloma was like, I think, and I was saying initially, we can set the date for release like August 2021. And Paloma was like, no way. Like she's like, you're an insane person. Like, we need a year to do this, like at least. And I was like, yeah, okay, whatever. And then it was like, we are getting close to our deadline now. And I'm like, oh my God, is it going to be done in time? Yeah. So, but yeah, so there was all of that. And so like really with the book process, it's like getting the content is like first and foremost, a lot of work. And then we really wanted this to be a very professional product and really shine. So also finding the right design team to work on it. We've got this beautiful cover and beautiful illustrations that were done for us by a studio in Spain that I actually just found because they illustrate a magazine that I get, and I really like it. It's called, they're called Studio Patent, and the magazine is Womankind Magazine. So I'll just throw that out there for a little advertising for these guys.
They do great work.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So I've been getting this magazine and I was like, these illustrations are amazing. Like maybe I can just reach out to the artist who did them and talk about the Women's Art Wednesday book. Well, lo and behold, they're a studio that focuses on book and print illustration and design in the first place. So it was sort of like the stars all aligned. And I just reached out to them and we were like, hey, we're working on this project. We'd love to hire you guys to illustrate for us. And they were super into it. They were great to work with. And yeah, they hand painted everything in the book. So that was amazing.
A little thing about that too, and the reason why we chose an illustrator is because if you all know, or if you don't know, you can't just take images from the internet and then put them in a book because people will sue you.
See our episode on image rights and Spider-Man. Yeah.
Tune in to copyright.
Yeah, so that was a huge issue that we had to think about in the beginning too, is like, art is a visual topic. Like we need images in this book and we can't afford to like get the licensing rights to all of these pieces of artwork we're going to be talking about. So we were like, okay, let's go into our world of, we know so many amazing women artists at this point through this work, like let's find some people. So actually, not only are there illustrations in this book, there's also contemporary women artists that we have worked with and communicated directly with who have given us their permission, to use like their artwork. We've got ceramicists and painters. We've got someone who, her name is Rachel Burke, and she does these like really cool wearable sculptures, like just all over the place, glass artists, all people that we've just worked with through Women's Art Wednesday that have given us their permission. So we did that. So that was like step 2 was like design. And then step 3 was hiring professional editors, which we needed. Yes. And, it's just like at a certain point, you see so much of your own content that you're like, you can't notice like how it could be better, and like,
oh my gosh. Well, I even write an Instagram post and I reread it like 3 times and there's like 5 misspelled errors, or I didn't tag that one person. I mean, you just go totally blind to your own content. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I really, for anybody who wants to write a book, I cannot emphasize enough the importance of a professional copy editor. Like, there were so many things in this that our editors were able to pick up for us, which was amazing. And then on top of all of that, we are self-publishing this book. So that's an entire process that is so complicated. And I won't take up the whole next hour of this podcast by just talking about everything we've had to learn for that. But like, really, it's, for one thing, we had to put a lot of research into finding options that were actually sustainable for us to produce this, because it's expensive to print books. And I don't know if you guys know this, but there's a paper shortage going on right now. So it's extra expensive. Yeah. So it's just like, there's a lot of hurdles like that that we didn't know until we got into this project. And that's one of the reasons I really value doing this, because we've learned so much about publishing and the industry, like purchasing an ISBN number and copywriting something and all of this stuff that has like gone into not only writing this book ourselves, but also publishing it ourselves. It's a huge task, but it's something that, like, with Women's Art Wednesday, we've done shows at this point, we've done our pages, we've done feature series, and now we're doing this book. We just have this mentality of like, we want to do these projects, so we're just going to jump into them and do it. And like, we don't really know what we're doing, but we're going to figure it out along the way. And like, I think that sometimes there can be a barrier to women scholars, for sure, of feeling like, if I don't know what I'm doing, I'm not qualified to be here. I don't have the right to be doing this project. Like, just all of these things that are sort of come with the package of going into academia. And so we just really try to like combat that in ourselves by being like, this is valid that we're learning and we're doing it.
Thank you so much for sharing all of that. I mean, you both are speaking Bianca and I's language. It's part of the reason why we're interested in this project. I was very glad that you brought up that you guys were self-publishing. That was a question that I had for you guys. So often we talk about how, like, I went to school to be an artist, and yet I was not taught how to run a business. You all went to school for art history, and maybe to a certain point, this is knowledge that you guys obtain in your academic careers, but you go to school for the intent to be a researcher or go through that process of needing to publish and write work, but no one actually fundamentally teaches you how that works. So I love that you guys aren't asking for permission, and I love that you guys are sharing that knowledge also with our listeners, because so often we all experience those doubts and those fears. I am not qualified. I'm not authorized to be here. I do not have this knowledge, but not asking for permission and just going for it because literally everybody else is just doing the exact same thing.
You're working so hard, and I just want to congratulate you on this project and getting it done.
We don't even like I am like trying to be best friends with you guys, and in my head I'm like, I'm so proud of them. I'm so proud of them. Just so and I don't have the right to like be proud of you because like I don't have ownership over you, but I want to.
It is so I literally, after our meetup to plan this, I texted Paloma and I was like, I think they're our soulmates. Oh, like I think it's meant to be.
I think it is meant to be.
Well, on that note, we're going to have a little lovers chat, and everybody else can go take a little break. And when we come back, we will be doing trivia with Women Art Wednesday's Paloma and Jane.
Ooh. Yay!
Fine wine has long been a cornerstone of wealth generation and preservation. The problem, historically, it's been reserved for the ultra wealthy. Vinovest is changing that. If you know us, 1, you know that your 2 Italian co-hosts come from a wine-loving and wine-making family. And 2, you know that making smart financial decisions, especially for women, is really important to how we think about money on this podcast. I was amazed at how easy it was to get started in diversifying your investment portfolio. Getting into investing or growing your portfolio can be intimidating when you're new to the game. Wine has 1/3 the volatility of the stock market and has outperformed the global equities market over the past 30 years, with 10.6% annualized returns, proving that the returns can be as robust as your favorite red. Vinovest makes it easy to acquire new investments equipped with a team of world-class sommeliers who evaluate wine and determine which ones will gain value over time. You own the wines in your portfolio outright. You can buy, sell, and even drink them whenever you want. Go to zen.ai/artpoptalk to receive 2 months of fee-free investing. Be sure to mention that Artpop Talk is helping you save on 2 months of management fees. It's time to start investing with Vinovest today.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm sweating here. I'm getting a little nervous for this trivia game. We are going to go up against these women's art experts in a little trivia game with some back and forth questions on women in art history and women in pop culture. So how it works is that each team, Gianna and I and Jane and Paloma, are going to ask 10 questions with the other team having 20 seconds to try and come up with the correct answer. Don't know that I'm going to be able to do that, but we're going to give it a good college try. So we're going to go back and forth, and questions came from some of the Artpop-tarts. So Jane and Paloma, why don't you start us off with the first question?
Okay.
Be gentle.
Man. I think
so nervous.
Okay.
So nervous.
Here, I'm going to start with, so Paloma and I actually broke this up into, I have 5 and she has 5. So
that's what we did too.
Yeah, excellent. Teamwork. So I'm going to start with my easiest one, which is just, who was the first woman artist accepted into the Florentine Art Academy?
Florentine Art Academy. I would think like Sofonisba. Trying to think, was she in Florence? Gianna?
I'm going to go with Isabella Rossellini, locking it in.
Isabella Rossellini.
The esteemed actress.
Okay. Well, I think we're both wrong.
Is that your final answer?
Final answer.
Final answer. Sofonisba Anguissola or Isabella Rossellini. I don't know.
One or the other. It was Artemisia Gentileschi.
Oh, okay.
Damn, really?
It was, well, okay. So the Florentine Academy of Art and Design, I probably should have said the entire title, but yes, Artemisia Gentileschi was the first woman artist accepted to the Art Academy of Florence, which for all our art historians in the crowd, that place was kind of a big deal back in the day. So
it seems so late. I didn't pick her because she seems like 100 years later than like the height of Florentine Renaissance.
I kind of thought with this question, I was like, is this like too easy because it's Artemisia Gentileschi? But at the same time, I was like, it's kind of not easy in that it's a little shocking it took them that long to admit a woman.
Right.
I feel like I'm always so hesitant to like bring up her name in like Renaissance because she's like my cop out like women art history Renaissance artist, you know what I mean? So I'm like, oh no, I better not say that one. There are other ones.
I know.
Damn it.
I feel that way too, but she's in the book because I love her. Like, even though I'm like, everybody in the art history circles already knows her, but I don't care.
She's one of my favorites.
Yeah. We did, speaking of Artemisia, we did receive a request from an Artpop-tart about an APT meetup at this Detroit exhibition that's happening on Artemisia. Ooh. So, that would be really fun.
I'm down.
I like that.
Pop-tarts unite.
Speaking of Pop-tarts, who was the first woman to have a single hit on the #1 top Billboard 100?
Oh my gosh. The first woman to have a single top hit.
Yeah, who got on like
a number one
pop charts first? Isabella Rossellini? I'll lock it in.
I think it's Isabella Rossellini.
That's all I can think about.
How long has
I don't even know how long
have the charts been a thing?
How long have the charts been a thing?
I think I'm going to say somebody that's like way too old,
because the only person I can think of right now is Mary J. Blige, because I'm still like on my Super Bowl moment.
I was going to say Ella Fitzgerald.
Okay.
So we're both wrong.
We're locking those answers in. I must say, though, I've been so angsty to talk about the Super Bowl halftime show. I just thought it was, in a word, sublime. I'm obsessed.
So that's our. Those are our two wrong answers.
Those are the answers. Okay, so the answer is Connie Francis, and I would be lying if I did not, if I said I knew who this person was, but I believe the song was called My Heart Has a Mind of Its Own, and it was in the 1960s. So there you go. I thought that was a good question from our listeners. Good job.
Yeah, that is a good question.
Yeah.
You stumped us, guys.
All right. I guess it's my turn
Yeah,
now.
you are up.
All right. I'm going to start with my easier question. Who was the beloved artist who followed Marie Antoinette?
And like who physically followed her? Like what is it?
Kind of, yes. Yeah. She really hung out with her in her palace a lot. Until the very bitter end.
Physically and career-wise.
And career-wise.
Who was the artist? So they were like contemporaries.
Yes. Woman artist, obviously.
I'm gonna guess Vigie Lebrun. Gianna, do you
I'm
have
not sure I have a guess. And I would also very much like you guys to stop saying this is my easy question.
Yeah.
Because feeling like a train wreck over here.
It's okay. I don't even know when the charts came around. So.
I'm gonna lock in Gianna Vigie Lebrun.
Yes, lock me in. Let's go.
Yes.
You are correct.
Good job, Artpop.
Yeah.
Wait,
We're such a
really
good team.
She risked her life and career for Marie Antoinette just to paint those portraits. So
I do love Marie Antoinette. Like I just think she's such a fascinating person, and everything about kind of like the French Rococo aesthetic is just, I don't know, I love everything about the way it looks, and I also love that Kirsten Dunst Marie Antoinette movie, the Sofia Coppola. Like, I love it.
Well, now it's like when her name gets brought up, all I see in my head is like a blue French, like Macron. That's like the word. And I'm like, in my head, it's just Macron.
Let me tell you, Lauderay has the fucking best macaron, and it's the Marie Antoinette flavor,
So
and it's
good.
black tea flavored, and it is divine. It is so good. Like, if you can go get to a Lauderay, I know there's one in New York, like, or there might be one in LA. Oh my gosh, that black tea Marie Antoinette.
One more thing on Marie Antoinette, which is that I think one day Women's Art Wednesday needs to write like an extensive essay about the interactions of female artists and female patrons over the years, because one of the most interesting dynamics of that is Marie Antoinette and Vigie Lebrun, where it's like just being a prominent woman in a lot of points of history for one thing, but then also like hiring other women who are operating outside of their normal standard is so interesting.
I would be down for that, and a little Lavinia Fontana, because Lavinia Fontana was like the portrait painter, and I love her too.
She was breaking those barriers, yes.
Yeah, painting for the court, doing portrait work. Okay, my next question. Name this year. The movie Mona Lisa's Smile was released. Julia Roberts was the highest paid actress in Hollywood. And Goddess, the classical mode, was the Met Gala theme.
Oh.
I love that movie.
Yeah.
I love that movie so much. I don't know what year it came out. I want to say 2003, which I don't know where I come up with that year.
You sounded so confident.
But I sounded very confident.
I am also going to choose 2003. Although I also, for some reason, I'm thinking like late 90s, like 1997.
That was my second one. They're really hitting us at the
I know,
at
you
my
guys,
weak points.
we're historians. We don't know
We don't do the
stuff
years.
about
You can play this game. Marie Antoinette, my ass. Answer the question.
All right,
I
you're
can
going
tell
2003?
you all. Yeah, 2003.
I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say 1997.
Oh my gosh, Paloma, you are spot on. 2003.
Spot on.
No wonder I was so
Nice.
confident.
Okay. So, which one do I want to do next? Who was the female artist from the 20th century who had a career as an acrobat before she became a painter?
I want to say like Claude Cahun.
What's a good like?
I just love when these questions are asked and we all just have this like panicked.
I'm like, oh god. I'm trying to think of
And
someone who
acrobat.
is just like, I don't know, like really out there doing like all of our like lovely performance art. Like, was Yoko Ono like doing acrobatic
Stuff on the
stunts
side.
and we just didn't know this whole time? I'm locking it in.
I feel like I can picture like a photograph of an artist.
It was actually Suzanne Valadon,
I have
the
no idea who that
French
is.
post-impressionist painter. Well, lucky for
Whoa.
you can read about her in the Women's Art Wednesday
Women's
book.
Art Wednesday.
Spoilers, I took most of my questions from things we put in the book.
I mean, I would be mad if you
But
did
yes.
it.
I'm done.
But yeah, Suzanne Valadon, super interesting person. She was an acrobat and suffered an injury. She was like very athletic and suffered an injury acrobating, and she couldn't do it anymore. So she became a figure model for a lot of like French painters, and was so like she learned painting by modeling and watching them paint her. And so
That
she
is so
became a
cool.
painter and kind of started taking the modernist painting scene by storm. So anyway, super interesting.
That's so cool.
So cool. Love to learn.
Love to learn.
Love to learn.
I
Don't
feel
get
like a
bitter,
student
Gianna.
who
We're
just didn't
still
study.
yeah, we're
too.
still in this game, Gianna.
That was a good little question, David.
It's 1-1.
Okay.
Come on.
1-1.
1-1. Okay, next question. What historical female icon was portrayed a lot, if not the most, during the neoclassical era?
Repeat the question.
What female icon do we see a lot in neoclassicism? She's historic.
Female icon.
Female icon. Oh, I was like
Icon.
artist.
Icon. Like,
Are you talking about neoclassical?
thinking like Judith.
No, it's neoclassical.
Yeah, I know.
Wouldn't it be? It would be Venus.
Yeah,
It would just be Venus.
it'd be Venus.
It'd be
It's always
Venus.
Venus.
Is it Venus?
I feel like I would take Venus as like a second. Like Venus definitely pops up a lot. One of the ones I have is actually Cleopatra. Sister shows
that
up
makes sense.
a lot. We have Death of Cleopatra.
Magnolia Lewis. Oh my god.
Yeah, come on. We knew that. We knew that.
Okay, well, I'm gonna
I'm
go.
disappointed in us.
I was gonna give you guys a bonus question. I was gonna say, like, do you know of a woman artist or woman artist who portrayed Cleopatra in this era? And you just said it, Amodia Lewis.
Yep.
So
Edmonia Lewis.
I love that piece, Death of Cleopatra. She's just like passed out. She
Yes.
looks amazing.
And she honestly doesn't even look like mad about it in that piece.
She
She's like, you know
looks
what?
so
Bye.
Good.
peaceful. Like it
Yeah.
just is,
She's like, I know what I'm doing, okay?
I have no questions. Like, you do you, Cleopatra.
I love it. That was a good question.
Yeah, good one.
Okay, it's my turn. Which was the first woman artist exhibited at the MoMA?
At the MoMA.
can give a
wanted to
year.
Say,
If
yeah,
you need some
give us a year.
Okay.
The year is 1946.
Okay, so I'm thinking Abex, potentially a little bit before MoMA. Wait, what's that piece? The fur, the
That's this, the cup.
the cup, the fur
The
cup,
fur cup.
the fur cup that is in MoMA now.
It is in. I've never been.
But
it
that
is in
still seems a little early.
1946.
46. I might think like Lee Krasner, but I don't know. 46 is too early. I don't know. I'm gonna lock in Lee Krasner.
I'm locking in fur cup piece. Fur cup.
What's her name? Oppenheim.
Yeah,
Yes, Merritt Oppenheim.
Ray Oppenheim.
Oh,
but that is not
Yeah.
the
But
answer.
it's not. It was actually Georgia O'Keeffe.
Oh, that's interesting.
duh.
You know.
Yeah, I know.
I'm slipping up on these. Why am I trying to make it harder than it has to be? Art history is simple.
It is.
We make it difficult and complex.
Oh man. Okay,
This is
so
what
I
art historians do. Do you see this?
Yeah, we do
Yeah,
this to ourselves.
they make us crazy. Okay, I have a similar question. When you started that question, I was like, oh my gosh, I wonder if it's the same.
Oh.
Who was the first African American woman to have a solo exhibition at the Whitney? And the year is 1972.
My last question is, who was the first Black woman to have a solo exhibition at the Whitney Museum? So I do know the answer to this,
Okay.
which is Alma Thomas.
Woo!
That would be really bad if we had like different answers.
See, we are fact checking.
Yes,
Well,
we are getting
fact
some good fact checking here.
checkers.
Alma Thomas, which once again, another shameless plug, first entry in the Women's Art Wednesday book.
Heck yes. I love Alma. Oh, and like her
she is.
photos are always so cute too. Like the photos that we have of her. I'm just like, oh, like I just want to like hang out with her. Like she looks so nice.
Yes. Also, such an interesting person for like the subject matter that she was doing with abstract expressionism. Like one of the things we wrote about in here that I was reading recently is that she was so inspired by like the moon landing and space and like the idea of human travel into space and like depicting the cosmos in art. And I was like, that is so fascinating.
That's
and she's
wild.
amazing. But
Oh, I love it. Wow.
well,
great
that was
minds think
my
alike.
that was my last question too. All right, so I will go for this one is like kind of tricky, but who was the first female manga artist to contribute to a major publisher?
Woof.
Who was the manga artist that we talked about who made the vagina into boats?
Well, that's all I can think of is Roku Danashku. Oh wow, I know a lot of our friends who are gonna grill us on not knowing manga art.
Yeah.
So I really hope I can get this last name correct, but it was Kuniko Surita, who was writing for the kind of alt publication Garo and doing all the illustrations. But yeah, like super cool. She like combined a lot of the tenets of fine art into manga, which I think is
That's
just like
cool.
her pieces are so beautiful and kind of surrealist and like very awesome.
What year do you know? Like what year was her first publication in there?
Her first publication in Garo. Let me just flip to this.
Just
page.
refer to the book.
So and then she started work in the 1970s, and she was the
Okay.
only female publisher or the only female author in Garo until the 1980s.
Damn.
Yeah,
That's wild.
yeah. So she was super cool.
That is a good question.
Okay, but this is a really hard question, guys. So just get ready for this one. Who said this quote? My first crush was on a Batman cake, but my first sexual feelings were about teenage Simba. Was it? This is multiple choice. Was it Pam Beasley? Was it Che Diaz? Was it Jessica Day or Leslie Knope?
That sounds like Jessica Day.
Locking it in, Jessica Day.
Jessica Day.
It is totally Jessica Day. I've been shamelessly listening to the New Girl podcast that some of the cast members, including Zoe Deschanel, have just launched. And it's got Hannah, it's got Lamorne, and I don't know, it's really good, but they're like recapping the episodes. So there's a little bit of what I do with my life when I'm not doing this.
So then I did prep because I've been rewatching that series.
Yeah, you did.
You did your homework, yeah.
Yes. Gianna, I just had to say I loved that one of your options was JD.
I mean, I did find like a lot of good cliche Sex in the City quotes, but I can't not read them in like the Carrie Bradshaw tone, so it would just have like given it away.
Dead giveaway.
You know, the funny, not so funny thing is that I was looking for like funny quotes by like women icons, right? And when I literally typed in the word funny, literally nothing would come up. It would Google X out the word funny, and it would be inspirational, motivational. And I was like, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for some like dumb ass, like what's the funniest shit like in recent years and past years. I was looking for like funny art historical quotes by women, and the only ones that come up that were somewhat humorous were from male artists. So the Google search was bleak. And then also part of the reason why I just like whipped that one out of my ass was because like I also had sexual feelings about teenage Simba. So like that's just a quote that lives rent free in my mind. But when I was looking up like, okay, like pop culture funny quotes, it really was living in this like Tina Fey kind of like Parks and Rec era of like 2012. And like there was some stuff from like, you know, Office or like Rashida Jones. And I'm like, do we seriously not, is like New Girl the most like modern, funny female quote like that we have? So Women's Art Wednesday, help a sister out. If you guys find some good, funny art historical quotes, please share them with the world.
Yeah.
You have one. Or no, it wasn't. Was that the quote, the Artemisia Gentileschi? Or was that written by?
Okay, this was funny. This was just funny because I made it funny. But so fun side story, I am fully vaccinated and all that, but got COVID right after Christmas and was sick. And around this time I was like I was finishing research on the Women's Art Wednesday book, like reading through all these things, and I'm reading about Artemisia Gentileschi, and I like find this letter that she wrote to someone that was like, I am convalescing from an illness contracted at Christmas time. And I like sent it to Paloma, and I was like, I am also convalescing from an illness contracted at Christmas time.
Tale as old as time.
Yep.
I think funny per se, but it was.
Well, we had a good laugh.
I appreciate it. I think that's funny.
Some of the like inspirational quotes that I found, and even us taking them out of context, like making them humorous, I think was still probably funny for the time. But it's like, you can either do this or you could die. And so I became a sculptor. And it was like shit like that. And I'm like, yeah, I feel that. But I feel as though like whatever website this is trying to turn it into something really inspirational. But like, those are the options, folks. You either die or you become a sculptor. And that's what we're doing.
You're trying to make this sound good, but it's actually just funny.
Right.
Oh boy. Lots of hope here.
But yeah, sometimes we have to make our own like art historical humor, but it's out there.
Yeah, because art historians like hate like funny things. Like if you try to be funny, they're like, yeah, you're stupid.
Yeah, seriously. That is the pinnacle of my concern about this book. Like every time I put in actual print things like, she was a big deal, NBD. It's like, no real art historian is going to approve of this.
We got you.
I think it's my question.
It's your
next.
turn.
Yeah, your turn.
All right. So which woman artist fought for the women's rights movement in 1915?
Ooh.
1915.
Here in the U.S.
Which artist fought for women's rights in 1915? So we're talking like first wave. I'm gonna go like Rosa Bonheur. Wait, no, that's way too early.
In the U.S.
Oh, in the U.S. Okay, 1915.
I'm like looking over your shoulder because I don't know.
What's a white lady artist?
Mary Cassatt.
A little bit of.
You guys are really warm.
With Mary Cassatt. So maybe another.
Is Mary Cassatt your answer?
Well, we're over 20 seconds, so let's go.
Yeah, I'm blanking. All right.
It's Mary Cassatt.
It's Mary Cassatt.
Oh, seriously?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I feel like that was 1915 just seems late, but that doesn't mean it has to be like at the height of her.
Yeah, she was just out there. She took that opportunity.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Just saw something going on and jumped right in.
Well,
Also,
I
to
feel
be
like
fair, I didn't know that either. I was looking over Paloma's shoulder.
I feel like somewhat relieved that we can like guesstimate.
Yeah. It was a random fact I found. I don't know too much about her involvement in the movement, but she was there.
I like it. Okay. What woman artist holds the title for most expensive female artist, with a work of hers selling at the highest price point of any other woman artist?
Oh, this happened like not that long ago, I think.
She's a
Jenny, you know.
Jenny from the block.
It's not Jenny from the block.
Still Jenny from the block.
I'm still on that Super Bowl. I'm telling you.
I know.
Oh my God. Okay. She does portraits of nude women, and there was one that sold at, oh my God. Why can't I think of her name? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No. I'm unfortunately only thinking about male artists right now, and it's really upsetting me right now.
Well, I think we have like that high of like the Salvador Mundi that was just like
That's
overspeaking.
that's what I've been thinking about.
Yeah.
Jenny Seville. Jenny Seville. Is that
Okay. That's
It's
not the
not,
answer that I
yeah.
have, but
Okay.
we can for sure fact
But
check
she
because
she did have a historic, and you're right, like it was fairly recently, like one of her works sold at auction for like the highest amount for a female artist. But Bianca, you found something different.
My knowledge of art sales and like what things cost is so bad. Like it is all so I take your word for it.
all of us probably listening understand that the value of pieces like at the time they're purchased doesn't also matter, because if like an Artemisia was purchased 20 years ago at a lower value, that's not the value that that piece is going to exist at today.
Right.
So what I have is a Georgia O'Keeffe that was purchased or sold
Wow.
at Sotheby's for $44.4 million.
So
And that's
I wonder if like
White
Jenny-
Flower #1.
I wonder if Jenny Seville's work was like a record for maybe like a living artist.
I think
Maybe.
you're right, Gianna. Actually, now that you just said that, I think it's a record for a living woman
Yeah.
artist.
Yeah.
Trick question.
I believe it. That's a great question. Okay. So since my Alma Thomas question has been taken, I am just gonna whip up another one on the spot here. But which woman artist of the 20th century said this quote? Art will make people better, more highly skilled in thinking and improving whatever business one goes into or whatever occupation. It makes a person broader.
Oh, I love that. Of the 20th century?
Yes. And you know what? I will additionally say 20th century three-dimensional artist to narrow it down a little bit.
Artist.
You all brought her up not that long ago on one of your episodes.
Oh fuck.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I'm not sure if
That's
that's
part of your art news.
Okay. What was our
Art
art
news?
news?
It was maybe a little scandal
A scandal.
with authenticity. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
Wait, okay. I'm trying to think. God.
we talk so much that my words are for other people, and I kind of just learned
Okay.
to tune myself out.
Wait, no. Oh, no. The Gwyneth Paltrow, Ruth
Yes.
Oh, that's
Yes,
such
that was
a
Ruth
good
Asala.
question. Okay, that was like way too many hints to give us. God, it
I'm
lucked
rooting for
way
you
so
guys,
weird.
honestly, at this point. I'm like,
We're rooting for each other.
yeah.
Ruth Asala. I love that quote. Oh, I love
Yeah,
that.
sweet.
Oh, cute.
Okay. So kind of in honor of a question that we kind of hate, you guys brought up earlier how a lot of times like women in art history are talked about in relationship like to their male counterpart or like their male spouse, their male teacher. So in honor of this question that we kind of hate, if you Google this person, it might say that they were the lover of Rodin, but really they were just their own person and their own sculptor who also happened to be in a relationship with this person and also worked, created figures and worked in bronze and sometimes marble. Who is this person?
Wow, that is a good question.
Sculpture history.
Oh man. Right now, all I can think about is that movie,
Are you thinking Midnight in Paris?
Midnight in Paris.
That's exactly what my mind went straight to when Gianna asked this
smoking?
question. I fucking love that movie.
So good.
Oh, it's so good. I can't. Yeah. My sculpture history is not good.
So our lovely sculptor is Camille Claudel, and she created the beautiful sculpture, the waltz of these like beautiful twisting bodies, and it's very abstracted at the bottom, and it's just like they're coming out. Their bodies are like coming out of this like mass. It's really gorgeous, but yeah, fun little art history romance for us.
I can just hear
do like
Owen
that.
Wilson like trying to re-explain, like, no, Camille, not Rose.
Camille. Just Rachel McAdams. What are you smoking?
I'm gonna make an Instagram for this episode.
Yeah, Bianca, have you been keeping a log of our visual references? Because so far it's like Midnight in Paris, French Macron. And...
Yes.
I love it.
This question is kind of fun. Which artist has a painting of a woman dunking a man into a well?
Perhaps even chucking into a well.
Maybe
you know?
even chucking.
Maybe it's a chuck.
I feel like that gives me like Flemish painting energy.
We can go a little Baroque,
A little
ain't
Baroque.
Italian Baroque.
Who's like aggressive, Artemisia?
I know, I'm like, well, we already used her, so.
I know. Are there going to be two answers with her?
It is Elisabetta Sirani with the famous painting Timoclea shoving a guard of Alexander the Great into a well.
I want to look this up like
Oh my
right now.
And let me just tell you, one day, just like on a wild hair, we posted this on Women's Art Wednesday, and we were just captioned it like mood, because and I don't think we've ever gotten more likes on a photo. Like, it's
Oh my gosh, wait, I remember seeing this. Damn it.
she's just throwing him into a well.
God damn it.
Sometimes you just feel like throwing men into a fucking well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that sounds great.
Fun fact about Elisabetta Sirani that is also in the book is that
Heck yeah, it
she was the first woman in Italy to open up an art school for women, like a training workshop. So
That's badass.
she taught the like niece of Lavinia Fontana. Like there was like this network of women Renaissance Baroque era painters in Italy, and she was kind of like leading them in this studio.
That is so cool.
Incredible.
Man. So whenever you mentioned her name, I thought she was going to be someone listed in this next list that I have. So my question for you, how many women artists are in the Met Museum?
Ooh.
You don't have to give me their names, just how many?
4.
I'm
Just
blocking
kidding.
in 17.
17?
I've never been to the Met. I know it's huge. And you're talking about their whole collection or
And
artists
there
that are on display?
That's a very good defining question that I don't have the answer to. I'm going to say on display.
Okay.
I think that this is actually going to be a much lower number than I want it to be. But
I want to say
I think the
17.
answer is going to be low. I'm going to, we'll go with 17.
17? Okay. So you're 10 too high. The answer
Oh, no.
is 7. I have
Wow.
7. Please God, someone correct me on this answer.
Oh,
Please let it be higher.
Great question, Paloma. I'm not sure if this means on view or in the entire collection.
I hope it means on view.
Wow.
I have Rosalba Carrera, Mary Cassatt, Louise Bourgeois, Adelaide Labille-Guiard, Georgia O'Keeffe, Vigie Lebrun, and Susan Rothenberg. Those are the 7 names that I have.
Wow, Matt.
7.
Sad.
7. Like,
maybe we should just send their collections like a copy of our book and be like, here's some ideas.
you should.
Think about.
You absolutely should.
The most passive-aggressive publicity stunt the world
Yes,
has ever
just
seen.
shade I will throw at you.
You absolutely should.
Oh my gosh. Wow,
Isn't that wild?
That's crazy.
Please someone send in a correction to that question. Like, God.
My next one is a little bit of a a very meta question. What year did Women's Art Wednesday get started?
You guys said
okay,
4
wait, you said 4
years
years.
ago.
See, yeah, I kind of gave this one.
So it
2018?
feels like it's 2032 and it's been 10 years in the pandemic.
Accounting for the black hole of time.
Right, like, are we counting the past 2 years or no? I'm going to go 2018.
It was indeed 2018. However, bonus points for anybody that is out there listening and is like, they started it on their personal pages in 2017.
Ooh, the
But
OGs.
yes, technically 2018 is correct. That's when we began our little baby.
I love that.
I really
That's a
love
good
the
question.
idea of like printing off like Women Art Wednesday honorary diplomas because I feel like I might need to challenge myself to get that degree after this episode.
Honestly, we really should do some sort of like Patreon tier for people or something where it's like if you come up with a woman artist every week for like a year, you get an honorary diploma.
I love that.
I
That's
mean,
so cute.
Yeah, I like that. Gianna, I love this next one.
Oh, right. My questions really bring to light what I bring to the table. So, was Lady Gaga snubbed in this year's Oscar season for her role in House of Gucci?
I mean, clearly.
Yes, I love that movie. Oh my gosh.
I actually, I can't remember what the like official Best Actress nominations were, but I'm gonna say yes that she was snubbed because that just seems like something they would do to Gaga.
Did Kristen Stewart snub her?
She did.
Yeah.
Kristen Stewart, Nicole Kidman. We got to talk about Spencer like another time because I have to talk about this movie for like an hour at the very least. I mean, happy for Kristen Stewart. Know that I am.
Not one
I am a
word,
Nicole
Bianca.
Kidman
I did not
stan.
understand one word said in that movie.
I definitely turned on subtitles like 5 seconds in. I was like, what?
Just a lot of heavy breathing. It was just like breath the whole movie.
It's a lot.
Oh my god.
Also the like Anne Boleyn ghost situation. I was like, is this an actual horror movie now? Because I am scared.
I didn't know that the story of Diana could be turned in such like a psychological thriller type of movie, like in the house. But you know what? That's what we got.
Here it is.
So sure enough.
So yes, Gaga was snubbed.
Correct.
Yes, I feel like that is correct. Even though we all have thoughts about House of Gucci, I also would have taken her wig, as a second answer. But
her makeup hair and makeup designers did get the Oscar nomination.
Oh, good.
So
good.
Yeah, so that's great because her wig, we've all seen that tweet. Her wig stayed on when she was getting fucking plowed by Adam Driver.
Yeah.
So, Oscar goes to Lady Gaga's
Wig design.
This question is just like a little bitter on my part.
Okay.
Can you name a woman abstract artist who makes better art than their male husband?
Oh.
Or made better art?
Well,
I want to say Ana Mendieta, like Donde Está Ana Mendieta, like fuck Carl Andre. So I'm gonna.
I feel like the true answer to this could be like all of them.
All of them.
All of it. That is.
She was an abstract painter herself, so.
Sure.
Well, my answer is Elaine de Kooning.
Oh yeah.
I love her work. And when I was visiting New Mexico one time in Albuquerque, they had one of her paintings, and I believe it's called Juarez. And it was just so captivating. And I'm not one for modern art. Obviously, I study colonial artwork, but this one was just so captivating. And I just freaking hate Willem de Kooning. Like, his artwork sucks.
Well, the
It's
way that
ugly.
he
I
like
hate looking at it.
paints women is just like
Gross.
super demeaning and
there's no word
makes me
for
super
it.
uncomfortable.
Yeah. What a fun note to end on.
Yeah, fun note to end on. All women expressionists are actually better.
They are.
Absolutely better.
Bold
Okay,
statements
guys.
coming out today.
Can we find that disclaimer in the back of Women Are Wednesday's book?
Yeah.
Bold statements will be shared.
Bold statements will be here.
Okay, so this is the hardest question that I'm gonna ask you guys to end our trivia game on. Can you name 5 women artists?
Oh my gosh.
Oh no! Sorry, can't do that. Yep.
Together, do we each name 5?
I'm gonna say because you're experts, you gotta each name 5.
Oh wow.
wow.
Okay.
Okay.
So you gotta have 10.
Yeah,
10. Wow, double trouble. Let's go back and forth.
Okay.
Let's just say it let's say them as fast as we can, like back and
What?
forth.
Oh
to
my
each
God,
other.
I'm
Are you
so-
ready?
Oh, I love that.
Are you ready?
Well, I'm not ready.
Lightning round.
Lightning round.
I'm Rita Jill.
Sonia Clark.
Oh, good one. That completely threw me off already.
See, that's what I'm telling you. Like, and then I start thinking about their artwork and how I love their work.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, Sonia Clark, that's a good choice. Lavinia Fontana.
That's a good one. Oh, I'm thinking about this art. I don't know why I got so specific. There's this artist. What's her name? Aurora. She's a Mexican artist, painter. What is her last name? Why am I choosing difficult artists?
Because you're that's what you do.
We're like,
When
I
you're
want
a
to
pro.
share the best ones.
distracted. Yeah. Oh, it's gonna bother me now. Can we start over?
We're at 3. We're at 3.
At 3.
We
Okay.
ended with
3.
Lavinia.
Amber Cowan.
Amber Cowan is a good one. Yayoi Kusama. I keep thinking about her artwork lately.
There we go. We're at
Satsu
5.
Hirota.
And then we did, you just mentioned Ana Mendieta. That's another artist
There
that
we
I've
go.
been thinking about a lot.
Women.
I'm really big on like vibes with artists. Like I love Edmonia Lewis. I love Rosa Bonheur.
There you go.
Honestly, I'm a real, like, it's so basic, but I love Berde Moriso. Like, her artwork just
10.
Chef's
so many.
kiss.
Oh, see, we got 10.
There
We're
was
Name
like
excited.
dropping. You're name dropping just
Oh,
on
yeah.
yeah. It's really like when you drop them as like just names. I don't like that because I start thinking about their artwork.
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
we're just going to talk about all of them.
Well, that's so interesting because I think it really challenges that idea that a lot of people put forward. I mean, we're coming up on Women's History Month. National Museum of Women in Arts, which is great, does that campaign. Can you name 5 women artists? And I think that there's a difference between being able to name a woman artist and really understanding their contribution to art and art history and culture at large. Because even if someone who has no association with art, who's like, I hate art, I'm not creative, they can name 5 male artists and name a piece of art with that.
Mhm.
You know, they can associate a name with that contribution. And I think it is harder a lot of the times. You might be able to name drop women, but that doesn't mean that their contribution has been like kind of solidified in the general public.
Totally. Well, and it's like with art history, one of the first teachers that Paloma and I had for art history used to make this joke of like, study art history and you accidentally learn everything. Because it's true. It's like art is this amazing tool for learning about history and the world around. And like by looking at why and how something was created, it can tell you so much about the time and place that it came from. And so there's really just like so much more to art history than just like art appreciation. So
Right.
I really think with like Women's Art Wednesday, what we try to do is just like narrow that concept down into work by women artists, because it's really not about even just like, well, this art is important because they're women who made it. It's because they're contributing to these important social, societal, world things going on, and their pieces are representative of their place in time, and they are also women. Is just, I think that speaks to that point so well.
Definitely.
Also, I looked up the name because it bothered me. It's
tell
Aurora
us.
Reyes, and she's a Mexican artist, and she was the first Mexican woman muralist. Yeah.
Ooh.
So I had to plug that in because it was going to probably haunt me.
You would be up all night.
You're gonna like slide into our DMs at like midnight tonight. Be like, by the way.
Like, it's
By the way. And then here's all these other 20 artists that we also love.
Well, you need to DM us because we're going to buy your book. All of the Artpop-tarts are going to buy this book, and everyone will be able to name and talk about 5 women artists. So before we let you go, can you guys give a big plug for where everyone can find this book? Where can they find you? Obviously, we're going to tag you in all of the media. The description and link to Women's Art Wednesday's website will be in the link below in whatever format of this podcast you're listening to. But tell us a little bit more about where we can get this.
Yes, 100%. So first and foremost, we are at Women's Art Wednesday, all one word, on all of our social media channels. And then also womensartwednesday.org, which will have links to purchasing our book. And you can also find it by just Women's Art Wednesday on Amazon. And there will be paperback, hard copy, and ebook versions up for sale. And that's actually going to drop at the beginning of March for pre-order, although they'll be like live March 9th. And yeah, like website, Amazon, on our social media, seek us out and you'll find it. But yeah, we're so excited.
We're super excited.
And only a little nervous.
I can't tell you not to be nervous because I would be sweating bullets, but congratulations again on all of your hard work. I cannot wait to read it. I'm so excited, and I just applaud both of you for working on this project for 4 years, since 2018, 2017 on your personal social media, and doing this project on your own, like you were talking about, is truly amazing. So thank you guys so much for being on the podcast today. I'm excited to have you guys back on. I'm excited to get that book, practice trivia, and then we can have you on for another round.
Thank you, Artpop.
Thank you so much for having us.
Bye, Pop-Tarts.
Bye, Pop-Tarts. All right, everyone. We will talk to you next Tuesday.
Bye, everyone.
Artpop Talk's executive producers are me, Bianca Martucci-Fink.
And me, Gianna Martucci-Fink.
Music and sounds are by Josh Turner, and photography is by Adrian Turner.
And our graphic designer is Sid Hammond.